Good afternoon. I'm very happy to welcome this afternoon Mrs. Linda Montana, actress and performer and singer from the United States. She has a very long career between cinema, television, performances. Hello, Linda. Welcome to Meeting Venus. How are you?
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm honored.
You, you're welcome. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing and how did you get interested into the arts, your studies, and your first break.
Well, I was raised in a show business family. My father was Monty Montana, a famous cowboy, and I learned how to, Daddy taught me how to trick rope and ride for horse catches and work train dancing horses. And I did that as a kid. And I rode in the Tournament of Roses parade. I have a picture of me with on my horse with my family and Roy Rogers and Dale Evans when I was 7. And so the first film that I did was The Life of Will Rogers, and Daddy was did all the trick roping for Will Rogers Jr., and I did a hippodrome stand with the Eppers brothers, and they became famous stuntmen. And I was about 7 then, and Daddy had a TV show, and I was on it when I was 6. So I just loved all that. It was so much fun working at rodeos and fairs. And then I thought, well, if all I could do is trick rope and ride horses, I wouldn't eat too well when I got to be an adult and, and later in life. So I studied acting, singing, and dancing, ballet, tap, and jazz. I did that for 35 years, taking class all the time. Sometimes I had 8 dance classes a week. And singing, I studied old Italian opera to learn how to sing correctly. So I started out auditioning for everything that I was right for. I mean, singers, dancers, acting, whatever. And it's funny because I had this extensive Western background. They wanted me on the soaps to play rich ladies. So I went, okay, whatever you want, I'll be there. So I did that a lot, and I got to do episodics, but I must say a lot of auditions and now and again work. It's not just, "Oh, here I am, you lucky people," and you show up and get it. It just doesn't work that way. So with a lot of effort, I still study. I am in Del Shore's master acting class, and I do self-tape auditions now, but the strike's on, so we're not doing auditions. But I had to learn how to have my backdrop and my lighting and where to position my camera and all that to compete because I'm competing with the big girls. And so studying and training is what you have to do. And for voiceovers, first off, I studied with Dick Orkin and then Pat Fraley, who was the master of all kinds of voices, and Scott Brick. And I'm in a weekly class with Kathy Grable to work out for commercial and animation. So it's just learning all the time and practicing because you have to keep honing it. When you get your opportunity, you're ready to go. It's not, oh, well, let me think about that. It's, come on. So that's what I do.
Yes, this is great. This is a very nice advice for young people to keep on studying and practicing all the time,
Study
you
and
know.
train. You have
Uh,
to
uh,
because the competition
I've
is
seen, yeah, yeah, there's a lot of competition. Yes, but Linda, tell me, I want to ask you because I've seen in your filmography you did a very famous classic comedy, Pennies from Heaven, with Steve Martin, and among other works. But I want to ask you, how was it to work with uh, somebody like him? And at the time, 70s and 80s, it is my generation. I was born 71. So I'm very connected to the generation of comedian,
Mhm.
who came from Saturday Night Live, like Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, Eddie Murphy. And when I went to the United States, I looked for best of for them, they do collectible, from. Tell me, how was it to work with such talent, and what do you think about comedy writing right now compared to the
Working
70s,
with
the
Steve Martin,
90s?
he was so nice, such a nice gentleman, and he was quiet. And so, what happened on that? I auditioned originally as a dancer, and I was cast, but in a small secretary role. And after Danny Daniels had it all staged and ready to go, and his son helped with the choreography as well, uh, Herbert Ross, the director, said, "You, dear, are a secretary, come with me." And I had to go with him and do something completely different. And then cameras are rolling. So you always have to be ready. And I had a certain thing that I was supposed to memorize in a lip sync thing, but I memorized the whole thing. And thank God I did, because I lip synced another spot. So you
Yes,
always have to be ready for it. Whatever they want, okay, thank you very much, and do it.
yes. I've seen that, like you mentioned, but I've seen your filmography. You've been in very famous soap opera, and I don't know if they still going on or not. The Young and Restless, General Hospital, Santa
Those two are
Barbara.
still on. Those 2 are on.
They
General
still,
Hospital and the rest is still running, but Santa
yeah, yeah.
Barbara is over.
Tell me, how is the work? Because I think they shoot continuously. These kind of soap operas. So how was it to work with people? They used to have playing their characters for years and years. And you were hired for a recurring role, I imagine, right?
Well, yes, on General Hospital, I was a spa lady, but I worked every now and then. It wasn't
Yeah.
weekly or every
Yes.
day. So it was just now
Uh-huh.
and again, but I was the same character and an ELQ board member. So whenever they wanted me, I did it. And I had a nice principal role doing that. And AJ Ann Jeffries was in it, and she was such a lovely lady. In fact, we went on a tour together, and she was my roommate. She was so much fun. So on doing a soap opera, you're there usually at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the principals have pages and pages of dialogue, so they really have to have a great memory. And usually, at least all of my experience was, okay, the director say, here's your mark, dialogue, dialogue, cross here, dialogue, dialogue, moving on. That's your direction. So you have to figure it all out yourself and be sure you know your lines, because you get one take, and only if they hate what you do will they do another one, because it's so fast. It's an hour, or sometimes a half an hour for other shows, but mainly an
Yes.
hour. They have to do it every day. So they have no time
Yes.
to lollygag. It's come
Yes.
on.
And you shoot with three cameras or more, I imagine.
Yes.
Even before digital age, and they have a certain rhythm in performing. It's quite different than regular television series because so I remember in Egypt I used to have the Bold and the Beautiful, and a court scene, could last for 15 episodes. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do some actor use auto cue? I mean,
Well, they have
earpiece
cue cards
cue card.
available for the series regulars, because they have
Yes,
so much dialogue to
yes,
remember.
yes,
But
yes,
I
yes.
haven't
I
used.
remember. The Bold and Beautiful was especially very popular in Egypt, and we invited some of the actors to Cairo Film Festival. The actor who play Rich, and also Knots Landing and Dallas were they were not soap operas, but they were very popular.
Prime time
Uh,
soap operas is what they were.
yeah. Yes, we invited Donna Mills, I remember,
Oh.
to the Cairo Festival. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was in the 90s. But
Mhm.
I want to ask you as well, you have a career as a singer because I've seen you performing. as
Mhm.
well. And I read that you released some albums as well and singles.
I haven't released an album yet, but I'm planning
But
to.
singles, yes. What
I
kind of music you like to perform? Country or
well,
pop or
I love country, but I love Broadway show tunes as well, standards.
yeah,
So I'll
yes,
have to. That's on my list to do.
yes. Great. We were speaking about the writer strike, and every now and then,
Mhm.
even here in Ecuador, my wife has been reading in Spanish about it. So it's everywhere, the actor strike and writer strike. You've been working here, in every type of medium in the United States, not only
Mhm.
Hollywood. I want to ask you, really, when a strike happens, and there are many demands by the artists, either they are writers or actors. Sure, these strikes are fruitful and they bring some, their demands are found after the strike, or it's just an event and the industry goes back again in its running machine, in its system.
Well, the strike has to be fair all around, and they have to
Uh-huh.
finally agree, both sides, and then things will start up again. But people will have lost a tremendous amount of money no matter how long the strike goes on, and all is supporting, like the craft services, the people who uh, rent out the sound and the lighting and the cameras. All those people are shut down too because of us, and the director or the writers. The directors settled already, so it's really hard on everyone. But the thing about like AI, it seems I listened to Fran Dresser, and when she spoke about that, they were proposing that the extras would work one day and then AI would get their image and I guess their voice as well. I'm not sure. And then pay them for one day and then use them from now on. So effectively ending extras' careers. From that's what I understand. I may be off, but that's close. So she's saying, hey, that's not fair. And it isn't. And on other things, on audiobooks, and for the directors or the writers, they want to have AI write the scripts. Well, that's not fair either. And actors, we know timing and little nuances. AI is going to get better and better, but hey, it's going to wipe out people's livelihoods. So we're making a stand right now.
Yes, when computer generated images started in late 80s, 90s, with films like the first Jurassic Park and the second Terminator,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of writers and, because myself also, I write about technical stuff, and they were saying at the time that maybe we can see movies with people like Humphrey Bogart or Marilyn Monroe, basically actors and stars from the past decades, who left us. They can CGI them, computer generate them, and some people found it very laughable and unimaginable. But
Oh.
I think what's happening right now with artificial intelligence is very close to that, I
Mm.
mean, and what I've been reading yesterday, that I wrote also an article about it, that many actors, who started like an extras, people like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they were extras in Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner film, and at that time they signed also a contract of it's like a permission to use their likeness. Imagine this been happening for more than 20 years, 30 years, but right now with the current technology, you know, it's everywhere, artificial intelligence, I think this also could affect the industry a lot, and actors of all generations, and also the technicians as well behind the camera, right?
Right. If they
Hmm.
choose to do that, everybody will be out of work. So we have to
Hmm.
read our contracts very carefully. And if
Yes.
they say
Should
no,
have a good
no.
lawyer like Lou Grant, someone like Lou Grant.
I did a Lou Grant, and I
Yes,
worked
yes.
with Ed Asner several times in a workshop with Pat Fraley. He was a character.
Yes, yes. We need something like Ironside and Rockford Files, some
That's right.
very hard detectives and investigators who knows a lot of the law between the different states as well. Yes. But, Laura, I'm very happy that you still learning and training, although
Thank
you
you.
have a very big experience. Tell me right now, uh, do you have like a certain character or dream project, even after your long career, you still want to realize at certain point?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm,
Well, I enjoy I've been auditioning for some really nice parts in the last few months. Uh, I probably shouldn't say what, but and I'd love
mm-hmm,
to do them. But I'll talk about the voiceover. I can do country ladies, and I did thing for Autry Museum. I played Helen Carpenter and Harry Scurry. But I can also be.
mm-hmm.
I don't like that very much. I can do all kinds of characters and stuff, and it's fun. It's playtime.
Yes, yes, this is great. Linda, I want to thank you very much for your interview coming with us during the strike. I wish you all the best in your upcoming projects, and I hope this time the strike will bring up fairness to everybody,
Same.
and I look forward to have you again when you have some new project to announce. You will be most welcomed again.
Great. And muchas gracias, señor.
Muchas gracias. De nada. Muchas gracias, señora Linda. Y a la próxima vez. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day. Take care. Adios.